My name is Areej Ashhab. I'm a Palestinian artist and researcher from Jerusalem, and my work focuses on material heritage loss, land politics, and more than human ecologies. I come from a generation where I didn't have access to land. I deeply believe that reconnection with the land is our way towards liberation, because knowing the land very deeply just reaffirms our rootedness and the fact that we've lived with this land for a long while, for centuries, and that this knowledge is what protects us, what provides survival and continuity, and a way to reaffirm our connection to land and reaffirm the possibility of return and liberation. Following the 1948 Nakba, a lot of the villages, the sites that have been destroyed by the Zionist militias, and we're talking about hundreds of villages. On these sites, years after and decades after, there's a specific plant, the prickly pear cactus. We call it sabr in Arabic, which means patience. It regrew on a lot of these sites. And this is because it was actually planted by Palestinians for centuries. It would be planted as a hedge plant. So it would be planted around the boundaries of the land to protect animals from reaching crops. It became almost like a common code for us Palestinians that whenever you see cacti that are growing on a seemingly empty land, there was a Palestinian village there. So it became a signifier, almost like a survivor of these villages. So it holds very important symbolism, cultural and political. And with Al-Wahat Collective, with Ailo Ribas and Gabriela Demchuk, I've been doing research around the cactus, especially in the last few years because of a recent spread of an insect called cochinillo that traveled. It comes originally from Mexico, and it lives on the cactus and now is killing a lot of the cactus, not just in Palestine but in the whole Mediterranean region. So we've been interested in this phenomena, but thinking a lot about how to think differently about invasiveness and how to work with this insect in a different way through workshops, dyeing with it because it produces a beautiful red pigment that historically in Mexico people used for dyes and as a food colorant and etc. And showing people what is the potential of thinking together with this insect rather than thinking of it as this pest that needs to be eradicated. The art becomes maybe a way or a tool to think differently about land practices or bring in new imaginaries and ways of thinking that maybe other fields of knowledge don't really allow. I grew up in Jerusalem where there are a lot of pine forests in the surrounding areas, and my father, as I was young, he would be always pointing at the sites of Palestinian villages, naming them, saying this was Deir Yassin, this was Suba, this was Lifta, and a lot of the times we don't see anything really, we just see trees, so it was always hard to relate to what he is saying, visually, because of these forests. I learned that they were planted by the Jewish National Fund, which is an Israeli organization that has planted 150 forests all across the country, and a big majority of them are on top of Palestinian villages. And I learned that this is not an innocent practice, of course. It's a way to cover what has been there, and as a way to make it even impractical to think about return, because you have a new landscape that has been imposed on these villages. I started going on more and more walks in these areas and noticing other layers of history, like other trees that grow that used to be part of orchards, for instance, or as part of like groves that people used to plant before 1948, and Israel maybe didn't uproot those because they look as nature, you know? But these trees were planted by Palestinians, a lot of them, like almonds, olives, all these fruit trees. And today you see only like wild saplings growing, and if you pass by them you might think, oh, this is just nature. But actually they were part of an orchard, or they were planted by a Palestinian 76 years ago. The people from the collective have been telling me that the land where they have the station is going through desertification. There's less and less rain, the environment is changing, like in many other places around the world. And so I've been looking at different practices and rituals that we Palestinians have been doing traditionally to call the rain. The first thing that came to my mind was a specific wildflower, which is called esquel, that grows just before the rainy season. And it's such a beautiful flower. It's like a white one, very tall. I noticed it a lot last year because it was growing really, really tall. And when I would ask people, they were telling me, this is called mbashrishta in Arabic, which means the predictor of rain. And that its height would indicate how much rain there will be. If it's too high, there will be a lot of rain. This is what people would think. So I decided to print this flower. On the other side of the flag, I've printed poppies, which are like flowers that grow after the rain. And on top of that, I wrote a verse of saying a prayer for rain. The idea is I dyed the flag with earth, so it will transform with rain. When it rains, one message will appear and the other will disappear. And this way it becomes like a flag that also transforms, and it's not just, you know, this a very flat object. First thing that comes to mind is the sacred trees in a lot of places around Palestine. I think of them as intergenerational beings because they are thousands of years old, some of them. And when you think about that lifetime, that's, I don't know how many generations. So I don't know how many people, generations, have memories with such beings. So when I see them, and I've encountered, I'm lucky enough to have encountered a bunch of them across Palestine. Sacred trees, you're not allowed to cut them or touch them or eat from them. So it's interesting. It's like because of human care, they have been protected because they were untouched, which is a different idea of care. Like when you think about care, it's about pruning and about engineering something and, like, you know, making it, protecting it and putting a fence around it. But these are really left to be there themselves without really touching them or like changing them. So it's a really interesting idea of care. A lot of my work is very much rooted in land and materials and community, in that kind of knowledge, and particularly in Palestine. So it made me really think, what does it mean for me to be elsewhere and still connect to this knowledge and to what I consider as home? And can I be at home while also being somewhere else? And I really, while I do, for me, home is, of course, maybe, that smell of the earth after rain, or sitting under a tree with an elderly and talking about these all these things, or even like small things. but I try maybe to expand what home means to me, and maybe thinking about plants is a very beautiful way of thinking about home, because plants and seeds migrate and move and take root in different places. Especially the type of plants that I research, a lot of them are categorized as invasive or migrant or hostile, and a lot of them end up finding home in the most strange places. You know, the seed is an archive, so it carries with it what it used to be or the other places it's been to. It's not really just, when it takes roots in a new place, it doesn't become something else. It still carries what it, the other places it's been to and it took root into. So for me, I want to try to think of home as something that also can evolve and migrate and still carry its roots with it and its histories. So I don't know, it's a maybe very romantic or metaphorical way of thinking about home, but yeah, this is what home is all about, isn't it?